We are Fleck Rose and Spears, and we are supremely black, dropping content that matters. How y'all doing this week, fellas?
Hey man, it was a great week. Them Cowboys, were we 4-1 now? 5-1? I don't know. We out here winning though. That's what I do know. We out here putting up the big wins, man, busting heads and taking names. Had to make sure I was represented this week. Let y'all know what time it is. But it's been a fairly good week, man. Went back to my hometown, man, through a comedy show. Man, the people showed love. I didn't think that many people was gonna show up at first, but as we know, sometimes in a comedy game, them pre-sales might not hit as strong as the walk-ups. So had a lot of walk-up tickets sold, man. And it just warmed my heart to see all those people there to show support to your boy, and I've got a bunch of good feedback, and they can't wait on your boy to come back. So for all my people in West Tennessee, man, Mountain Tennessee, Jackson, Humboldt, Madison County, Gibson County, we'll be back end of January, sometime in February, to bring some more jokes. I'm gonna have a whole new roster of comedians headed y'all way. So, man, my week has been awesome, man. Can't even lie.
Yeah, what's good, man? This D Rose. It's been a good week. I actually had the opportunity to go to the Steelers game, or the Steelers and Broncos game, with me and my auntie. We took the road up there to Steel City. Unfortunately, we took an L up there, but it was a dope experience. Pittsburgh fans are very, very into their team. Pittsburgh in general was a very dope city, but it was cool to knock that off the bucket list. I had the opportunity. We were sitting very close to the field, and we were by the away team's tunnel. And Marlins' very own Avery Williamson had ran by and had looked up and didn't even realize it was me. And he had ended up signing my bandana that I had and my auntie's terrible towel, because he was at that official time, he was with the Broncos, but I think he just signed back with the Titans. But overall, it's been a very dope week. Had a chance to stop through. I had a layover in Orlando and kicked it for a couple of hours, caught up with some friends. It's been a minute, but overall, I can't complain. Life is good, man. How about you, Spirit?
My week been good. Been making some connections still and networking with some people, so that's been a great thing. Meeting some dope men of Black kings that are doing some major things, but then also aren't selfish and allowing opportunities to present themselves to other people. And so it's just good to see Black excellence. And then to Fleck's point, the Cowboys won, so that's always a good thing. Also had a chance to support ZFT. I probably ran 5 times in 5 months, if that, maybe more like 3. But the Dallas chapter has a lot of newcomers and everything, and so we had a half marathon out here, the McKinney half, and went out there to support the family and the new people that's joined ZFT and cheered them on and celebrated with them. I also ended up running a 5K because Yancey came up and he was like, "You running tomorrow?" I looked and he was like, "Yeah, you gonna run a 5K with me?" So I just ran a 5K or whatnot, but supported ZFT family and then kicked it. You know, we work hard and then we play hard, so then we kicked it up afterwards. So it was a good weekend or whatnot, and just making that work. So my weekend's been great. So we're just gonna jump into the hot topics. So I'm gonna just ask y'all which one y'all want to dive into first, because there's a couple hot topics. So we could either do Dave Chappelle or we could do Jon Gruden. They're kind of one and the same, but they're also very different. So which one y'all want to dive into?
We can dive into Jon Gruden, and then that'll tailor us on into the Chappelle situation that we got going on as well.
Well, pop us off.
So for those who have not heard or do not follow sports, coach of the Las Vegas Raiders was let go and resigned / terminated not too long ago due to his remarks that he made. Some emails that were sent out when he wasn't the coach of that team. These emails go back anywhere from 7 to 10 years ago. when he was the host on Monday Night Football and was not affiliated with any team at all. The reason why it's such a huge story is that last Friday or Friday before last, he had some emails were discovered that he had called Demarius Smith, one of the NFLPA guys, and he said he had big Michelin rubber lips or big black rubber lips or whatever he said in the email, which caused a stir in the beginning. But he tried to clean it up. He apologized. He said he cleaned up and said, I say anybody's a liar. I said they have rubber lips. That's my phrase for anybody that's a liar, that they have rubber lips. He apologized that he offended anyone. And from Friday to Sunday, things went as normal. He was still a coach. No talk of suspension or anything like that. They said they would investigate something, but nothing was done immediately right then and there. Few days later, I want to say that the next Monday after that, they had found some emails of him making homophobic remarks. He was making, I guess, chauvinist statements about women or whatnot. And he was immediately, once all those emails came out, he was immediately terminated at that time. And when they posted it, when the alert that hit my phone, this is what it said. It said, Coach Jon Gruden parts ways with team after homophobic remarks are found in email. So it kind of bothered me some because that was the alert when I first got it. And then it made me think that Friday, when he made something that could be racist or something that is racist, he apologized and everybody went on like it was nothing. You even had Randy Moss coming to tears about it when he was on one of his shows because he grew up in West Virginia and he has had racist remarks said to him. I'm pretty sure, no, I'm gonna guarantee it, but I'm pretty sure you guys may have had some racist remarks, maybe lean towards you at one point in time. Either it been, in my situation, somebody driving by and speeding off down the street when they said it, being a little bitch. But I'm sure it come because with Randy Moss dealing with that, living where he lived at in West Virginia, he was in tears or whatnot. Like I said, nothing really much happened. But when it seemed he'd been offending some other groups, immediately terminated, immediately fired. Really wasn't any question about that. They didn't waste any time. They actually fired him during Monday Night Football. Usually when they do some type of firing, anything like that, they do it the next morning. But they expeditiously got him out the paint. So I just wanted to get you guys' thoughts on that. Feelings.
I would say this, not popular at all. I've heard people, like when I was in Florida and just in traveling, I've heard people say rubber lips. I don't think that was more or less of just like him saying that it was just because it was a black man or anything like that. I've heard people say, because, rubber bounces off, tires are used and it bounce off the road. So I've actually heard that phrase before. So I wasn't really necessarily moved by that. I guess it's unfortunate if Randy Moss has had things that from his past that triggered it. But just to be completely honest with you, that wouldn't have brought me to tears. I've probably heard worse jokes amongst us as black men joking within our neighborhood that I would have felt would have been more racial than that. I think the part that really got me was that was something that was glossed over and not even mentioned in regards to him actually resigning, and that he realized then that it was going to be a bigger issue than they had put out, because like you said, he reached out to Smith. I think I forgot his first name, but he reached who? DeMorris Smith. So he actually reached out to him, and it was kind of going through that. But I didn't really take that honestly as something racial. But the things that led to him resigning, I think that he felt way more pressure from that, because if we're just being honest, from my opinion, let me just say that I don't think DeMorris really took it as anything racial, or I wouldn't, because I've heard it before. Now I've heard it from black people. I've never heard a white person per se say that. I've heard that from black people, like he got rubber lips, you know what I'm saying? So I wasn't really just moved by that, and it definitely wouldn't have brought me to tears. So that's my thoughts in regards to that. What about you, Spirit?
I'm gonna take a different angle a little bit. So when all of this first happened, again, when he said what he said about DeMaurice Smith, I wasn't too fazed by it because one, it was 7 or 10 years ago. And if we're going back to everybody's history about what they did 7, 10, 11 years ago, I'm pretty sure there's going to be things that all of us cringe about, or all of us are remorseful for, or regretting that we said or did or acted upon in our past. And so I understand that people make mistakes and whatnot. So my thing was, okay, it is what it is. He wasn't employed, all this other stuff. I'm thinking they're really trying to come out with what they really went to the emails for and finding and looking for the stuff that the Washington football team staff actually did to make women in their organization feel disrespected, marginalized, discriminated against, and abused and victimized. So I wasn't too worried about that. But then when everything else came out, I still felt the same way. Now, do I agree with anything that he said, or am I saying that what he said wasn't wrong? No, but again, it was 17 years ago. It was in private with some people that he thought, or that, not that he thought, because I'm not even saying they snitched on him, because we don't know who was on the witch hunt for Jon Gruden, because this was a witch hunt for Jon Gruden. So it could have been the commissioner, because he found out all these emails and then said, I'm gonna leak this to whatever because I'm trying to get Jon Gruden out of there because I don't like what he said about me. It could be a plethora of different people that seen these emails and then felt some type of way about it and then went to go leak this information. However, it was conversations that he was having in private. And again, this is how he really feels. This is who he is. But I'm at the point now where I want to know people for who they really are. And if you're willing to grow and be educated, fine, you my type of people, because you can learn from your mistakes. Because there's some things that we grow up saying and doing just culturally, historically, or whatever. And Jon Gruden's old. If anybody know Jon Gruden in his history, he cussed like a sailor. He say certain things. So I'm pretty sure there are certain things that he grew up with in his household, in his culture, in his city, but then also just being who he is, saying that he didn't even think twice about. But I am also sure that if somebody educated him and told him, like, this is something you might need to watch, I'm pretty sure, or I get the vibe that he would be willing to be educated and to learn from his mistake. But the thing that really pissed me off is that we could have a former president say anything he want to say before he get into office, while he in office, and then even after he exits office, and he could keep the highest job, profession, or whatever in the country, whatever you want to call it. But when a coach does something that it was supposed to be private, that was when he wasn't employed by his employer now, because he was employed by the ESPN, so ESPN could do some things. But when he wasn't employed by what he does now, and then you take away his livelihood, you don't allow for correction or rehabilitation or reconciliation, I feel like that's where society makes a mistake at. And that's when we get to basically being a prison in the free world. And so that's how I feel about it. I'm not saying I condone anything he done, but we have to realize how fucked up we becoming as a society. One, when we have sensitive ass skin and where anything that's being said is taken as disrespect, or like, because I know still to this day, I talk certain ways that I know I wouldn't talk in a professional world, or I wouldn't say certain things or whatever. And that's not even being misogynistic, being racist or anything. It's just, I wouldn't use some of the words that I use, just regular cuss words. I wouldn't say fuck at the job. I wouldn't do certain things at the job talking to my boss or whatever the case may be. But there are some things that I will say. And if my boss sees me after work, or if I'm emailing one of y'all, I wish that nigga would say something to me about what I just said. Like, and so I think that's where we're crossing a fine line and breaking that boundary of what is acceptable and what's not acceptable.
Yeah, and that's exactly where I'm at with experience. It's like, and we had this conversation in a few group chats. It's just you get to a point where do we even have freedom of speech anymore? And if you target a certain group, as people that took the rubber lips thing, use this as an example, as something that was racist, right? Okay, that was fine. But then as you go over and you target a certain group of people, then now it's elevated. And then so now when you get to that point, it's like, okay, you may not agree with that person, but is that something just completely offensive to the point where you say they shouldn't live, they shouldn't have any livelihood? Because at the end of the day, we must all know that everything that we don't say in public, we're going to say in private. And that's just sometimes just how people are. That doesn't make it right or wrong. I just think we've gotten to a place that where people don't agree, everybody comes out with this whole cancel culture thing because I don't agree with them. I'm done, messing with them. And it's crazy is because that's the sad reality is that we're supposed to be in this country that is freedom of speech and you're able to do or say whatever. Now you could offend certain people. Now you shouldn't intend to do that, but also everybody is not going to agree. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just where we're at, but it's a dangerous place is because when you target certain groups, you are automatically canceled, but there are certain things that they would allow for you to do no matter what. There's not any, they would deem it as entertainment. You know what I'm saying? Even like, and we'll get into it a little later, but it's sad and it's really scary to be honest with you. It's like, you can't even be yourself anymore in public because if everybody doesn't agree with you, you're done. That's it. Like you can't even live because of you spoke how you actually felt about something we've been taught since we're able to speak full sentences is you can say what you want to, but sometimes there's going to be repercussions. But at the end of the day, does that mean everything about you is flawed? It's not. They're just a free speaker. And I just think that we've gotten so far away from how it used to be is everybody is so sensitive. And that's just what it is, bro. Like it's sad, honestly. It's sad and scary.
Flake, I'm just gonna be real quick. Just remind me to talk about this because this point deals with Gruden and society, but then it also deals with what we said we was gonna talk about later, the Chappelle thing. And so to both of y'all's point, it's really fucked up, and I'm really starting to get pissed at the certain community when there ain't an uproar when they disrespect Black people. But as soon as they get mentioned, it's, oh, we gotta set this bitch on fire. We gotta make sure they don't have nothing else. They can't do nothing else, that they're out of there, whatever the case may be. And it goes to the point of what we're gonna talk about later, but that's just like a slap in the face and punching down on us, and because y'all don't give a fuck about us and don't care when we're the ones inflicted and it's solely us. But as soon as you get mentioned, it's all hell breaks loose. But go ahead, Flake.
Great points by both of you guys. I would like to say that we do have freedom of speech. It hadn't gone anywhere. However, the consequences of freedom of speech is something totally different. You can say whatever you want to, but the repercussions after that, you may have to deal with. So nobody gonna toss you in jail for your speech. But however, if you get fired or let go or lose some money, I mean, that's just part of the consequences that go with that and the freedom of speech that happens. Also, the rubber lips situation. I think D Rose and I was in the group. I didn't really get offended by it at all. However, the way the NFL approached it, they approached it as it was a racist term. That the way they had brought it to the table, and it had something to do with some type of racism. As you know, the NFL is trying to change a new leaf with the flags, the Black Lives Matter flags, the back of the helmet, end of saying end racism and together we can do this or whatever. They, whether they really mean it or not, they're trying to turn over a new leaf. Whether they mean it or not, this is what they putting out in Front Street, just like they say they care about the military also, but still charge them to perform before the game. So, but anyway, that's another topic for another day. But that's how it came off, and that's why it kind of pissed me off that what more talked about that after the fact, because this is how you guys presented it, that it was some type of racism behind it. And then after that, it was like it was all good. Sunday, you find other emails. Now things are all bad. Now all of a sudden, Monday, I'm sorry, not Sunday, Monday afternoon, you discover the other emails that sent out. So whoever is out for Jon Gruden said, hold on, that wasn't enough? Well, hold my beer. I got some more for you. And when he mentioned a certain group, then it's like, oh, he got to go. We got to get him out of here. He got to go ASAP. And that was kind of like the issue that I had, is that people need to realize between certain groups, we are all minorities. So everybody should be treated equally the same. If it's an issue you say about one minority group, it should be the same uproar when you say it about another minority group. It should all be the same. We should all be working together in this, because it's three things that we want. We want change, we want equal rights, and you want everything to be better. Those are the three things that we want. And if we don't work together as a unity, as a team, then therefore we will always have this punching up and punching down, me against you type of situation, when it definitely shouldn't be that. And that moves us along to the special of Dave Chappelle. And this is near and dear to my heart because I'm a comedian as well, in hopes and dreams to be as large as Chappelle is one day. And it bothered me some, because out of that whole entire special, we're in an uproar about a certain section of the special. And to be honest with you, in my opinion, he said a lot worse things that could be discussed, but nobody seems to be paying attention to that. Or the simple fact that Daphne, this transgender woman that he spoke about, committed suicide through bashing on social media, being attacked on social media. But the conversation ain't about that happening. The conversation is about what Dave Chappelle said about a certain group. And that puzzled me. That really puzzled me, because it was like, we have a person that committed suicide here that everybody seems to have forgotten about, even in that community, just to say, oh, we should cancel Dave Chappelle and his stuff should be removed from Netflix. So if you've seen the special, which you guys have, because we talked about this behind the scenes at the last podcast we had, that we always gonna watch it. We didn't discuss it, but we said we always gonna go on and watch it. So give me your thoughts on the special. Give me your thoughts about the uproar, outrage, and once again, for the fourth time, people trying to cancel Dave Chappelle, and this ain't happened yet.
Yeah, just to kind of clear it up before we even get into it, the reason why she had actually committed suicide is because she had openly agreed or sided with Dave Chappelle in regards to his thoughts on exactly everything that he had said. And she, I guess in a certain way, she agreed, and she thought that it was comedic relief in regards to what was going on. And the part of the community that she is bashed her, which led to her actually committing suicide. And he, within that special, actually had saluted her. So, you know, rising power to her, and even a more major salute to him for still acknowledging that as a comedian that pretty much could have been counseled for these particular thoughts, but she understood that it was bigger than just trying to make everything as bad, because at the end of the day, he does have a profession and he's a comedian, but then also more importantly, he's human and he has an opinion that can be respected, whether you agree or disagree. So to get at my points, I think that everything that's transpiring to this exact moment as we're recording this on this Tuesday, that was his point, is that you could glorify demeaning women in music, Black people in music, anybody of a minority group, but the moment that you attack any particular group of people, then that's when they are at arms. That's when they want to counsel you. That's when they want to get rid of everything that you've ever done. You are deemed as this deviant person, and it's sad, man, because at the end of the day, I can respect you, but I may not agree with your lifestyle. And we're all human. We all commit sins. And it's not that we're targeting you and saying that your lifestyle is any different from ours, because nobody's perfect. But to the point where you could be opinionated about things that you don't agree with, just let it go. Like, people are going to disagree, and that's okay. That's why we're all individuals, right? So that's really my thoughts on it, is that everything that's transpiring right now, I know for a fact that the special that he dropped, he was 1,000% correct with his stance and what the backlash would be. And we're seeing it right now to this day.
As for me, it was Chappelle being Chappelle, one of the greatest, if not the greatest, but that's, argumentative. But it was him speaking truth to power and giving truth to power, because the thing is that I personally feel is that group of people is biased, is not understanding at all, is lacks compassion, is also defensive to a point where they lose sight of what's truly being said. And if you listen to what's truly being said, is Dave Chappelle first called a truce and said, I'm letting it go. After this, I'm letting it go. I'm willing to sit down and have a conversation and learn some more, be educated some more, but also let y'all know how I truly feel and what's on my heart and what I feel like y'all have been doing to our people for this whole time. So he understands that we're in the same boat. We're just on different ends, because y'all can't seem to understand that y'all only care when it comes to LGBTQ plus community. But anything else that transpires before it gets to the LGBTQ plus community is A-okay. It's no uproar. It's no anger. It's no vitriol. It's no hate. It's no animosity. It's just all chill, cool, and cahoots. But then y'all, think y'all could do whatever the fuck y'all want to do. Y'all could talk about flipping my dick out on stages and stuff, on concerts. Y'all could talk about doing all this other stuff. Y'all can make cartoon characters gay now in comic books. Y'all could do all this other stuff and introduce this to our children. Y'all can allow men who say, oh, I feel like I'm a female today, go into bathrooms with young children, young women, and say that's okay. But as soon as somebody feels differently or has a differing opinion, it's y'all worse than the beehive. Literally, y'all are worse than the beehive.
Walk with them.
and it's upsetting. Sometimes I feel like y'all are delusional, and it just pisses me off, because how can we grow and how can we work on things if y'all are being oppressive to other minority groups and then act like everybody is oppressing y'all when it comes to whatever y'all want? Y'all have made like Chappelle said, y'all have made bigger leaps and bounds than the whole civil rights movement in less time. And again, I know some people, to be politically correct, categorize cisgender, the LGBT community, all of that falls in civil rights movement, if we're being politically correct. But y'all's banner, y'all's group and sect of people have made more leaps and bounds than any other, more than women's movement, more than Black people's movement, more than Hispanics more than any other minority group in the world, but especially America. Y'all have made leaps and bounds more than us, but then y'all act like y'all are the most disrespected and marginalized and disenfranchised folks in the world.
Hey, and you said a lot right there, and I really appreciate you just being, honest in regards to that, because I like when he had mentioned that was that from our perspective, when we're speaking on this from as Black men looking at it through our lens, right? When he stated that, I felt that, and I had to actually play that back, is because in reality, we're human, we have an envious nature, and I felt where he was coming from in regards to that is because as we sit around and we talk about this, whether we're all together sitting around, just shooting the shit, or if we're sitting around in the barbershop, it's true, man. It's like, I didn't got to the point where now I don't care to be accepted by the system. But when you think about it, you compare those two, it's impossible for you not to feel as if that it does not matter. And now that they've used a community to just go above everyone else. And I think the part that really gets me is the sense of entitlement in regards to it. Okay, completely understand. You do whatever you want to do. There's no bashing. And if you take it that way, that really just is what it is. But that sense of entitlement makes people not even want to. That doesn't have the mindset. Let me think through this. Let me see how we could actually take how we feel about certain things that are happening within our community, certain things that you may happen within our communities. If you really just looked at it, there's a lot of things that coexist. But we seem that we can't, is because at the end of the day, is your fight or your plight is bigger than ours. And that's where we disconnect that. So it's not that your cause doesn't matter. It's that your cause isn't better than ours just because it's your cause. And if we all work together as minority groups, I think that will really apply pressure to see who people are. Are they even just capitalizing off of this and pandering to either side for political purposes, for financial gain? We can't even get to the root issue, is because everybody's too much worried about, am I right or am I being overlooked? And if that's what stops it. That's what makes people say, all right, I'm gonna join this side and I'm gonna take offense to this. And it doesn't have to be that way. It's because at the end of the day, we all respect each other. But it doesn't seem that way when issues are presented, is because, hey, I'm a part of this community, so what you all are talking about does not even matter at all. And that's the issue, that it impacts other minority communities, is the entitlement. And that if you don't agree, then we have the power, and know that at this particular point that we would cancel everything that you've ever stood for, and we will win, because who's going to stop us? And that's my thoughts on it.
You said a lot just then, D Rose, and that was the point that Mr. Chappelle was trying to make on this special. He even had a joke about being a Cliffer, and it was a perfect example of rolling it into, that's okay, but when we go this area, it's not okay. He even had a joke about a movie called Space Jews. Nobody is really upset about that joke. And one point in time, even now, you still can't touch the Jewish community, say anything bad, and nobody is upset about that. And like I spoke about Daphne in the beginning of this, that should be the head storyline. That should be the one that brings everybody together. That when you push somebody and bully them over social media over and over again, especially, and she probably wouldn't even have done it if it wouldn't have been coming from her own community. But it hits different when it's your own community coming at your neck. It hits a little bit different then, because it's like, I'm one of you. Why is my community disowning me? I stand side by side with you guys. I have talked to this man. I have let him know when a joke goes too far. I let him know what's funny, what's the point. And to be honest with you, Dave might have ran some of those jokes, not jokes on this special, but some of his previous jokes past Daphne. And she was like, that's pretty funny. That's good. You can use that in the special. And sometimes when you discuss in a certain community, as comedians, believe me, you want to run it past somebody and say, hey, is this okay? Or is this taking it too far? And when you get the green light, it's like, cool. I got the green light from a couple people in that community. Let's roll. But it's always going to be, regardless of community, regardless of the race, color, creed, sexuality, that's just going to be looking to cancel somebody, always going to be offended about something, and that's what social media does. I wish we go back to the days of social media. When it first came out, we just go in there, have fun, bust jokes, shoot the shit. It was a time to go on. You worked all day, you had a stressful day. You go on there, relax, unwind, see what your family and friends is doing, crack up jokes, post videos, making jokes, and it was all fine and dandy. But now everybody feel like they have a space to be upset and be outraged by every little bitty thing that comes out. Now, some things we should be outraged about, and some things, even the smallest things that you shouldn't be outraged about, you're gonna find somebody who don't like it. And what make you even what be gaslighting people is that you can always find another group of people that agree with you, even though they might not have done the research, even though they might not have watched it. My main thing is this, like Dave Chappelle said before, if he said it in the previous special, you went and you clicked on my face. You seen it was me. You know how my jokes go. And you know how my jokes go. Why even watch? Why even click on it and watch? And that's my thing. If it's something that I'm scrolling through on Netflix, the regular TV, HBO Max, whatever I'm watching, and I know it's something that I'm not gonna be interested in, why even click on it? And I guarantee you, a lot of people didn't even watch it that's outraged. Some of them just probably caught a snippet and then got outraged about it. And then the part that's really killing me that makes it even worse is that he said at the end of the special, I am with you, but you don't listen. And that was his point. It's like, you don't listen. If you think about what all he wrapped up in that special, he was basically talking about how we should come together as one and how his friend was hurt. But even through that, people didn't listen or they didn't watch it all the way to the end to get the full caption. They just took those clips and ran with it. But you can't be outraged or you can't understand if you're not willing to listen to the entire issue or somebody's entire thoughts about a subject, because it might change. I've been on stage, I've had political jokes, and I will be at the beginning of a political joke and mention one person, and I've had people walk out of the show. And I'm like, you ain't even heard the rest of the joke, because if you stay, you will realize in the next 30 seconds, the person I brought up, it ain't even nothing about him. It was just a vehicle to get to the area so you can have a better understanding. The punchline is not even about this person. It's just part of the story. But that happens. I mean, like I said, you can have freedom of speech, as repercussions come with that. But as minority groups, we all fighting for the same things. And if you pay attention, we all have a lot of stuff in common. We have a lot of stuff in common. We fighting for the same things. Why it can't be unity for us to come together and fight for our equal rights on both ends as Americans?
Nah, but what I want to add to that too is that when you just go through the whole special and you listen to the gems that he dropped and everything, like the thing that one makes me say Dave Chappelle is better than that whole community is because that community attacked Daphne and is semi-responsible for putting her in that state that made her do what she wanted to do. Dave employed this woman who was a trash comedian at first, but was funny in real life.
Let me correct you. What he said on the special, she was trash even before then. But he kept on, he was like, hey, but you funny, so I'm gonna keep working with you. Off stage, you funny, so we gonna keep working with you to get you to that area of where you need to be. Let me commend him on having somebody open for him and do that amount of time that only did comedy 8 times. Because in the comedy community, if you only did stand up 8 times, you are not even getting paid to do nobody's show. And if you are, they give you 5-10 minutes at the most, and they telling you to sit down.
Yeah, and so he employed this woman, allowed her to open up for him, gave her opportunities and access, but y'all are mad at him. But then when you also listen to what he said, he gave it all up. He turned down millions of dollars for the fame, for his integrity and his character, and he gave up the fame and he gave up all of that. But y'all are trying to cancel somebody. Y'all are hating on somebody, but y'all won't give up y'all Twitter fingers. Y'all won't give up none of y'all stuff to stand in there and really do the fight. Because again, y'all are so worried about the joke. Y'all ain't listening to the point. And the point is going over your head because you just worried about the punchline and you worried about the laughs that come with it. And so I just feel like, to Rose's point, but just to a bigger point at all, if we can't come together and if we can't sit down and talk and understand, we can't do shit. And if you don't want to break bread with me, that's fine. I'm not going to break bread with you, but you're not going to stop me from doing what I want to do and doing it how I want to do it. And at the end of the day, the people who love me, respect me, and care about me, going to love me, respect me, and care about me. And that's why I stand with Netflix for not canceling them and sticking behind Dave Chappelle. So salute to Netflix. But I wonder if I went into your emails, looked through your text messages, searched through your stuff, would you be canceled for some of the shit you say? Because at the end of the day, I might start putting period at the end of everything. Just so I could get some rights. Cause shit, I ain't getting nothing right now. So period, poo, all damn day.
Yeah, about that. about that. Yeah. Let's not, but that's all good. Yeah. Do your thing.
Right. I'm let him have that one.
Yeah, do your thing. Do your thing, make sure.
That finna be sounding like my 12-year-old daughter at the end of every email.
Right. Yeah. What? Man, stop it, dog. But yeah.
But quickly, let's touch on something real quick as we wind it down. This one also close to the home in Murfreesboro, right outside of Nashville. We have a judge by Donna Scott Davenport who has been illegally jailing Black children in Tennessee for crimes that do not exist. She actually had been putting young kids in jail. The most outrageous one was she had 11 elementary school children were arrested. All was Black. Six was handcuffed, and 4 was locked up in jail for processing for allegedly watching a scuffle involving a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, and one older boy. The children were charged with criminal responsibility for conduct of another, which is not a law or a crime in the state of Tennessee at all. So if I'm watching 2 people fight, that I'm not held responsible for what the next person does. I'm just a witness and a bystander. I cannot be arrested for that. However, she calls these kids to be arrested and handcuffed. I think the youngest one was like 7 years old that was handcuffed and arrested. This all settled out of court for $397,500 to the 11 children. And while a separate class action lawsuit ended the county's filter system of putting kids behind bars and their youth behind bars and running them through juvenile systems for crimes that was made up by this judge. I will say this is why I preach local elections and how important it is. However, I was informed earlier today that no one ran against this judge this entire time, and that's how she was able to continue to remain in her spot. But let me get you guys thoughts on this, man. This is a wild story, probably one of the most wildest stories I've heard of in a long time. But just like Jon Gruden, if you think she the only one, you in for a bigger surprise.
So my questions, I got two questions, and I'm not saying that y'all got the answers, but it's just two questions. One, if you're illegally locking people up, no matter if nobody runs against you, you could still stay in that seat. If you're doing something illegal under the constitutional law of what you're supposed to do as a judge, and I'm not looking for an answer.
Spears, I ain't got the answer, but I was thinking the same thing. Like, even if ain't nobody running, we just gonna have to pull somebody from a different county or something nearby, or take another judge and say, you got 2 jobs now.
Yeah.
Because
promote a lawyer into that, like
promote a lawyer or something, and like take another judge and be like, yeah, I know you do child support and all that, but you only doing that on Mondays and Fridays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You taking her spot. I mean, you would think this what would happen, but.
And then my next question is, and I went to school for criminal justice, and I've had some run-ins with the law. When does a judge ever be there during apprehension and cuffing? So how did the kids get, because I know the judge could change the charges or put the charges, but I know she wasn't at the school to tell the cops to cuff these kids. So how did it even get that far to go to the judge? And then if the cops or the school security, because again, I don't know the full story, what did they say they was arresting the kids for in the first place? Why did they even bring them to the jail cell in the first place? Because that speaks to the bigger problem. As you were saying, Flake, if you think it's she the only one, it has to go down to the police too. It has to trickle down, because I've never seen a judge at school and then her courtroom being a school to say, oh, this is what we charging these kids with. Like, it don't make sense to me. So I'm trying to put it all together and see how we even got to the judge for her to even put that bogus claim of a charge on these children, and then also to allow them to be cuffed or put in jail. Like, how did it get there? Because in jail, you can only see a judge at certain times on certain days because the judge not always there. So I'm just trying to fathom my head around that.
Yeah, none of it makes sense. If these were junior high school students, okay. Because you get in a fight at school, pretty much if you in high school, junior high, they come to get you. And usually what happens is your parents come pick you up. Nothing really happens, unless you pull a gun out, knife, things of that nature. But if you just got in fisticuffs, they usually just take you down there. They sit you up front, don't even put your handcuffs, have your parents come get you. I've never heard this in the elementary school. The only thing I can think of is that this particular judge was talking to the police sheriff, was talking to the police sergeants, and telling them pretty much, this is what I want you to do. And they dumbasses agreed with it and followed through it and did this stupid mess. Like, I couldn't even see, why is even the police showing up on a 5-year-old, 6-year-old fight? It's kindergarten, first grade. Why are they even showing up? Like, if it's a police officer securing the building, they keep people from coming in and out, as they should. But if a 5-year-old, 6-year-old started fighting and I'm the police officer securing their school, walking the hallways and making sure it's protected from outsiders, I'm looking at the 2 teachers like, y'all wasting my time. Put them in timeout. Let's keep moving. My bad, D-Rose. Go ahead, say what you're going.
No, you good. I'm gonna keep mine short and sweet.
Got me fired up over here.
Yeah, they just need to get her out of there, and it's obvious. I mean, we don't have to think about it. We know the simple answer. They've created a system that could help Black kids get from the school to the prison pipeline just as quick by programming their minds. So anytime that they ever act out from as young as 7 years old and up, this will be the issue. So it's not sitting in timeout or you're going to detention or in-school suspension. you will be taken to jail just like adults that you may have seen within your neighborhood, and then hopefully it becomes so normal to you that you just turn a blind eye to it. And if nobody speaks up on it and stops it from our corrupt system that we have in place, it will continue to go until it makes national attention. If it never does, then we will just continue to do what we've been doing. And this is where you will be when you're able to be charged as an adult. It don't take rocket science. That's the system they created. That's the game they playing.
That's definitely a game they play in Rutherford County, because it's one of the places.
Yeah.
That's one of the places. My wife grew up in this area, and it's one of the places we thought about moving to, and I gave her extreme hell no, because that not all police officers there, but it's a lot of them that has this small man complex of, I used to get beat up in high school and I become a police officer. Now I want to arrest everybody and want to be Billy Badass. I remember when she lived there visiting, and I would be riding down the street in a car that I didn't even have any subwoofers, amps, or anything. I got stopped plenty of times for music ordinance. And I'm like, I don't even have, I have the factory speakers in here, and my windows is rolled up. So what it would do petty stuff like that. If your tags didn't say they counted, you was from out of town, they pulling you over trying to search your car and everything else with no reason. So it's really a issue with the entire county, but it starts at the top of that judge that need to get rid of, and her ass need to be arrested as well.
Yep, that's just what it is, man. So just to kind of, like she had spoke out on it, just to kind of close it out. One of her favorite sayings is, I'm here on a mission. She describes her work as a calling. It's not a job, it's God's mission. And that's exactly what she feels that she's doing. God don't make no junk. She says what she's doing is to instill in fear, and hopefully they correct their ways, because she sees a lot of aggression out of 9 and 10-year-olds. So basically, what that means is that whatever she says is law, and regardless if it's law or not, that's her order, and she has officers that are going out and putting it in place and going along with it. So that's just pretty black and white. So now that they're aware of it, let's see what changes they actually make, from all the way down to the arresting officers and how the community responds to it. And that's just simple. I ain't got nothing else to it. Yeah.
A lot of aggression from 19-year-olds, but we've seen people of other color that be in high school or freshman in college, and they rape somebody and do things. And they say, well, what about their future? We can't send them to jail. They have a bright future ahead of them. Let's not worry about that rape he did. He's a boy being a boy. Yeah.
So this week, I'm gonna skip the Black Business Minute because I know we're running close on time, and I just want to discuss something real quick, that another current event that happened. So in the city that I grew up in, was raised in and everything, Arlington, Texas, we had a shooting at a high school that my younger brother and my younger sister actually went to. And so it's a bigger issue that's going on here in our communities. And I just want to speak to our people in our communities and let y'all know that don't allow your pride and your ego to jeopardize your whole life. Learn how to protect yourself, and if you can't protect yourself, just stay out the way. But don't allow an ass whooping to allow you to possibly get your ass whooped for the rest of your days in life in jail, because you wasn't prepared, or you didn't think you didn't think your plan all the way out. And so you're putting lives in jeopardy, and then you're also putting your life in jeopardy, your family's lives in jeopardy, because you want to be impulsive, or you want to just react without thinking. Take a time to think, because at the end of the day, guns are for protection, but guns aren't for victimizing innocent individuals that had nothing to do with the situation or scenario that you were in. And so I just want to speak to young man and woman and just let y'all know that y'all are valued, y'all are important, and that we do care about you, but you have to care more about yourselves. And so reacting off of impulse is not a smart decision. It's never smart. So take the time to think before you do anything, because if not, it could cost you your life, your literal life, and your freedom. And so I just wanted to touch on that and to speak on that, because again, like you said, Flake, with your situation with the judge, it was just close to home and everything. But then just to see a 17-year-old kid just result to that option when he had 1,000 other options that he could have chose is just sad and disheartening.
Now I got a question. Is this the same story of the kid who got beat up at school, came back the next day with the gun? Is this that same story?
No, it wasn't next day, it was same day. Got beat up at school. After he got beat up, I don't know if he went to his locker or if he left home, because we kind of got open campuses out here. So like on lunchtime, you could go to whatever. I don't know if he has a whip or if he just lived in one of the houses that was literally right next to the high school or whatever, or if he went to his locker, backpack or something, and then came back and just opened fire.
Yeah, no, he had it in his backpack. Apparently, I mean, and it may be something we just have to cover at another time, because I mean, there's a lot of different things in regards to it. But so he had got into a fight, and there's been something that's been going on. Apparently, he
For
had
some
been
time now.
Yeah, so apparently it's been something that's been going on for a long time. The parents or his guardians have stated that they've went to the school. Several instances it's kind of being blown out. So it's a lot of different things that's going on. It's not, and I'm not speaking on that to say that I'm condoning anything that he had did. But he had it on to answer your question, he had it in his backpack, and he resorted to that when he realized that that might not have been the only L he was about to be taking. So that's how we got to the point where you're saying where it was a school shooting. So.
Yeah, and I say this, the back spears up on what he said. Once again, I'm not condoning it, because as I've said plenty of times, don't let your temporary feelings get you in a permanent situation type of issue that's going on. But also at the same time, if the parents have something needs to be done with the principal, whoever they spoke with about this issue, because if my kid and I have done the right thing by coming to you guys multiple times saying I'm being bullied, they beat me up, they taking my money, this, that, and the other, and nothing is being done repeatedly over and over again, where they didn't protect their school. You have to do something with that child that keeps bullying. You have to do something. So I would like something to, I would like, I'm not for sure what happened, but it seemed like this is a conversation needs to be held with the principal and those people that were involved that were told repeatedly over again, this is what happened, because they didn't protect their student, nor did they protect other students that have been shot, because you were notified, you have known about this situation. And when you dealing with somebody who's scared, and we all know when you grew up in certain neighborhoods and we've seen some scared ones, when they hit a certain point of being scared, they'll be quick to do something extreme.
Well, I just want to say this isn't a view that Supremely Black takes, but that is supposedly in the streets and what's going around PR, just a cover up. It's just two kids being kids in cliques, talking shit to each other, whatever. And they do what they do, and then one kid got embarrassed, and then whatever. So that's what the streets are saying. Again,
Gotcha.
I don't know the exact, but from what I'm hearing from multiple sources, it is just a PR cover up to make the kid look more innocent than what he actually is. And then also because of what he did and how he put people in danger, to make his charges less and, you know, to get some grace from, you know, the community and from, you know, law enforcement.
So he doing what the other side have done before. Gotcha.
Yep. Yep. The temporary sanity ball. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we gonna condone it, but we're gonna skip the Black Business Minute and the Supreme Black Person of the Week. As you see, we had some heated conversations, so we kind of ran out of time. So for all my queens out there, whether you be LGBTQ, Black, whatever your situation is, cis, whatever all those pronouns are, I'll be honest with you, don't take that disrespect. I just don't know them all. However, we gonna cover them all. Put your crown on, took that thing to the side, let them know you are a queen. For all our kings out there, whether you be LGBTQ or cis or all the other pronouns, they put your crown on, took that thing to the side, let them know you are a king. We are one another. We got to unite and fight for each other at the same time as we out here fighting for all the rights.
And I
Spears.
got one more thing to say. Happy birthday, baby girl. When this dropped, my daughter will be 11. So happy birthday, baby girl.
Happy birthday, Queen.
Yeah, happy birthday.
And we are Supremely Black. And we out.